అరే స్వామి రికార్డింగ్ పెట్టాను.
Hello. Okay. 3 is a crowd, so we can start off. Just let me give you an introduction to what we are going to do. We are going to be doing research methodology, in which we will be doing various things, including qualitative research, quantitative research, the necessity for quantitative research, where does that necessity come? We'll also be doing quantitative research. Where does the necessity for that come? And a lot of people actually believe that you either do qualitative research or you do quantitative research. So I'll unfold the story a little later, but you must understand that we will have to remember that qualitative and quantitative research both go hand in hand. There was a time when people could have said, we'll do only qualitative research. There was a time when people said, we'll do only quantitative research. But today, there is an increasing realization that you cannot do just one. You'll have to do a combination of both. Now, I'd like to tell you that I'm recording this meeting, and I will be posting this onto my YouTube channel. I have my own YouTube channel, and that particular channel is called A.V. Satish Chandra channel. So if you search for that, you'll get it. There are already about 300 lectures of different subjects on it. I'll be creating a new list, and this will be called research methodology. And we'll basically start looking there. Now, irrespective of your disciplines, you must remember that research is research, and the rules of research are the same, whether it is psychology, whether it is political science, whether it is economics, or if it is sociology. All of them have the same rules. That is the first thing, first principle that you people should remember. That everything has the same underlying principle, which is what makes research universal. it is only at a very, very late stage that we segue into different ways of doing research, be it for psychology or for other subjects. Now, before I commence talking about this particular whole idea of research methodology, let us try to understand both these terms that come together and form the phrase research methodology. I always ask my students one thing. Why do we say research? Why don't we say search? Does anyone have an answer for that? Anyone? Why don't we just say search? Why do we say research? Research technically means search again. It basically means search again. So why are we searching again? That is the question. Now, if you have to understand the etymology of research, then one of the things that is of absolute importance is that you have to remember and realize that this particular word, research, came from of all things, Christianity. I do not know how many of you are familiar with this, but if you look at the whole idea of research or anything else connected with education, seminars, symposia, all these are words that have come into the vocabulary of education thanks to Christianity. So let me kind of explain that better. Now we all go to universities. Does anybody know what is the basis of university? Does anybody know why a university is called a university? We have translated that into our own languages and we have called it Vishwavidyalaya in Hindi. In Telugu, it is Vishwavidyalayamu. I'm giving you a clue. Does anybody have any idea of why a university is called university? Anyone? Well, the word university.
Hona, Shara? Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, it has universal studies in it. So,
So what is universal?
I mean, it studies about universal access to students and
No, that is not the answer. The answer
okay, sir.
is university comes from universe, first and foremost. What does universe mean? If you look at the whole idea of universe, universe means one verse, VERSE. In a song, you have a verse and a chorus normally. So universe is one verse. So what is the significance of the usage of the term universe? The significance is that there are two ways of looking at the world. One way is universe, which is what most people do. Quite a few people do something else which very few of us are aware of. It's called multiverse. It's not called a universe. Okay? The term is multiverse. There is a famous book called The Multiverse of Democracy. It doesn't call it a universe, it calls it a multiverse. So, let us try to understand what universe means and why we don't use the term multiverse and why we use the term universe most of the time. Very few people actually use the term multiverse. So, why do we use the term universe as against a multiverse? Multiverse is many verses. For that, you have to understand
context, we have some financial.
that. Good evening, Maria. So you have to.
Good evening, Professor. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Fine, fine. Everything
Yeah.
fine. Sorry for late.
No problem. So if you're looking at the idea of a universe, or if you're looking at the idea of a multiverse, please remember that the roots of these terms lie in two words. Okay, the roots of this lie in two words. One is cosmos and the other is chaos. Can somebody tell me if you know what a cosmos is? Anyone? Cosmos, what is it?
The totality.
Totality
Mhm.
of
The universe.
totality of the universe is a cosmos.
Yes.
Mm. So what is the literal meaning of cosmos?
And a space, no?
Sorry?
And a space. A
I
system.
no. You must understand the difference between cosmos and chaos. Chaos is not what we think. We think chaos is everything unorganized or disorganized. Many people would even use the word anarchy to describe a chaos. But that is not true. Let's try to understand these two terms. First, let's try to understand what is a chaos. Chaos is not confusion. Chaos is not anarchy. And anarchy is not confusion. Mess, lack of organization. Maya, please. Lack of organization. All these we associate with anarchy. None of this is right. They're all wrong. Traditionally, I don't know if you're aware of it, the term arch basically depicted power and authority. The Greeks did not pronounce this as arch. They pronounced this as arc. In Greek, it is A-R-K. It's not A-R-C-H. So let me tell you, incidentally, the first few classes, I'll be telling you stories. And by that, don't think that I'm telling you something which is, you can kind of what should I say? Telling you stories as in I'm telling you something which is fiction. It is not fiction. It is basically something which is literally history. Chetana Ligala is playing badminton and actually listening to the lecture. Multitasking. I'm not good at
No,
this.
sir, I'm recording my class to listen later. I'm sorry. By mistake, my video has opened.
That's okay. So what I'm telling you are not stories as fiction, but stories as history. Does anyone know the meaning of history? How the word came into being? Anyone? No? Okay. History is something which should be seen as his story. His story is history. Please remember that the early societies were all patriarchal. There were a lot of matriarchal societies, but in Europe, societies were patriarchal. So that is the reason why we have man and his words like this as universal words, which also include women. So history is his story. His story is the story of mankind. I will be politically correct and not say mankind. I will call it humankind, which includes both men and women. So his story is the story of the evolution of humankind. So it is a story that is something that starts with the whole idea. It starts with the whole idea that we were savages, we were barbarians, and we have evolved. Darwin evolution. Well, Darwin was talking about a different kind of evolution. He was talking about a physical evolution of different kind of species. I'm using evolution of the Darwinian kind here as a metaphor, not literal things. So from being barbarians, we are supposed to have become civilized people. We are different from other animals. Other animals have not evolved. We have evolved. We have social structures. We have morality, which tells us what is right and what is wrong. So we have all these things. And that is the story. So to come back to the term arch, arch signifies how we have evolved. It talks about how authority came into being and made the human species different from other animal species. That is the significance of arch. The most well-known form of the usage of the term arch is monarchy, which means one arch. So monarchies have been where there have been one source of power. It's not one king, it's not one ruler. No. One source of power, one source of authority, that is the arch or arc, if you like, if you want to be Greek. So there is only one arch, and that has civilized us. That is the story. Now you must understand that while we are talking about this one arch, one source of power, what is this one source of power? If you look at ancient Indian civilization, in ancient Indian civilization, people will tell you that we have 3 crore gods. We don't have 3 crore gods. We may have different representations of divinity, different representations, not different gods. In fact, ancient Indian civilization, it should not be called Hindu, it should be called Sanatana Dharma. The reason why it should not be called Hindu is very simple. The word Hindu is a Persian corruption of Sindhu. Now, I don't want to go too deep into this and waste your time, but let me tell you the story quickly. The original name of India was Jambu Dvipa. When it was Jambu Dvipa, it was an island. Dvipa basically means island. What is Jambu? Jambu comes from Jamun, or Jamun comes from Jambu. It's actually this way. Okay. This was a land where there was, or rather there was plenty of this particular fruit. So it was called Jambu Dvipa. Now we know the story that this particular island came and hit the Asian continent because of the various tectonic and magmatic movements in geography. If you're a student of geography, you'll know these things. The movement of all these plates led to the movement of this island. It came and hit the Asian mainland. The result of that is the formation of the Himalayas. The Himalayas in geography are called fold mountains. Why are they called fold mountains? They are called fold mountains because once when two land masses crashed into each other, then in folds like this, the mountains arose. And I don't know how many of you are aware of this. The Himalayas are the youngest range of mountains in the world. They are younger than the Andes. Why Andes? They are younger than the Aravalis, which are in India. They are younger than the Vindhyas, which are in India. So they are a young species. And even today, so many centuries after hitting the mainland, the mountains are growing at 1 inch per annum. The Himalayas are still growing at 1 inch per annum. So, after this great impact of the Jambu Dvipa happened with the Asian mainland, you had what people called the Sapta Sindhu. Sapta Sindhu stood for 7 rivers. The main river, of course, was the Sindhu. And Sindhu has great relevance for us because our name, our country's name is derived out of this. Sapta Sindhu, 7 rivers, the tributaries of the Sindhu. Today we have 5 tributaries of the Sindhu. We also were supposed to have the Saraswati. Today there is some evidence that the Saraswati river is not a mythological river. It did exist at one time. It has dried out. This has come from NASA's NASA, America's NASA's radiocarbon dating. From that it has emerged that there is a thing called a Saraswati river which once did flow. So this was a land of 7 rivers. Now, in the 6th century, in Persia, we call it Persia thanks to the Westerners. It is actually Persia. It is actually Persia. And many people think that Persia is the old name for Iran, which is wrong. Iran was Iran always. Persia, or some people called it Persis. This was a part of Iran. And in the 6th century, it was ruled by Darius II, King Darius II. So what did Darius II do? What did his court do? When they wanted to talk of India, which was Sapta Sindhu, in Persian, you don't have sa sound much. The sa sound is replaced by the ha sound. So in the 6th century, during the rule of Darius, India came to, Sapta Sindhu came to be called Hapta Hindu. It's not Hapta Hindu, it was Hapta Hindu. Later on, the Ha part went away and only Hind remained, Hindu. So Sapta Sindhu became Hapta Hindu. And later on, the significance of this is the Arabs, the Iranians, and the Parsis. Parsis are the people who came from Persia. They started calling the people who lived on the other side of the, as they called it, the Hindu river, they called them Hindus. So Hindu is not a self-designation. Hindu is a designation given by the Arabs and by the Persians and by the Iranians. That's how Hindu came into being. Hinduism is not a religion. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but there are only 3 religions in the world: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These are the only 3 religions in the world, because if you look at the definition that was given for religions, by the Roman Cicero, they had to be monotheistic, only one God. They had to be monotheistic, which means they had to have only one God. And it's only in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam that you have one God. The others do not have multiplicity of gods. Please understand that. That is one of the things that people get confused about. Okay. It is not as if there is only there are other religions which have a proliferation of gods. No. Even today, if you go to Africa, in Africa, you will find Christians, you'll find Muslims. And if you ask some of these people, they will tell you that the rest of Africa does not have a religion. They are irreligious, which is not true. What existed was cosmology. And cosmology basically means that the cosmos in itself is divine. The whole world is divinity. Among the cosmologies, the ancient Indian cosmology was the most evolved among all the different cosmologies that existed. The ancient Indian cosmology was the most evolved because it survives even till today. Egypt had a cosmology, Egyptian civilization, another ancient civilization. But there's nothing left of the Egyptian civilization. The Greek civilization was also something that had a cosmology, but it's not there anymore. So the only cosmology that has survived till today, albeit in a sublated form, is the ancient Indian cosmology, which is called Sanatana Dharma. Dharma, I'll talk to you about it later, is the principle that drives the entire universe. Sanatana is unchanging. It is not something that changes with time, changes with place. It doesn't. So that is why it was called Sanatana Dharma. Now coming to the word cosmos. Cosmos is this idea of the universe, that it is a cosmology. In a cosmology, nothing happens by accident. Please remember this. In a cosmology, nothing happens by accident. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. If today you're sitting in my class and listening to me, it is not arbitrary. It was meant to be. We may not know why it is meant to be, but the cosmos, the universe or the cosmos knows why we are sitting in this class today at this particular time. And this is the opposite of chaos. Chaos is nothing happens for a predetermined reason. When I say we are sitting in this class today, it basically means that we are sitting in this class today because there is some reason why we are sitting in this class today with you as my students, with Chetana playing badminton and trying to record my lecture. All this has a meaning. If you say chaos, chaos has no meaning. Chaos means things happen. They happen. There's no reason behind them. If today you are sitting in my class, it is just an accident. It's not like there is some purpose behind it. So cosmos is purposive. Chaos is without purpose. And when we talk about anarchy, anarchy means not having a power structure. So people like Bakunin, Proudhon, Kropotkin, all anarchists basically believed that human society should not have a structure of power. That is anarchy. That is the difference between chaos and anarchy and cosmos. I have another class to take today. I'll end this here, but please bear with me. For the first few classes, I'll tell you this whole story. Only when you understand this whole story will you actually understand the idea of what research is. So thank you very much. And I'll see you tomorrow at 5:30. Hopefully you have not been put off completely and decided there's no point in attending this class. But I'm going down to the basics, very, very basics of research. What is research? That is what I'm doing right now. It'll take me 2-3 classes to do this. after which we'll get into methodology. So thank you very much for being with me. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Sir, I'm so sorry and thank you for the class today.
No, no,
I
no,
didn't
it's
mean
okay.
to.
It's okay, Chetna. Anything is okay with me. I am absolutely okay person with anything. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.